I guess my biggest thing that I noticed is a leader running 6/10 faster than the back of the field catches the back of the field and can't pass him.
But the 24 and the 6 really put on a good show for the first of the race.
Yeah, and a lot of side-by-side, people down on the bottom digging, and with that progressive banking, it's a great racetrack.
And it turned out to be another gas mileage thing that they talked about, I believe the 19 car, he wound up running second, but I think he tried to take out all the Toyotas. He got 2 at one time, and then he got to 43. And Chris, we watched it on television. I watched all of it and practice and qualify and everything, but I know you just watched the race. What did you think?
Well, it started off really good. I watched the ARCA race, enjoyed the ARCA race on Friday, and loved the racetrack. It's got character. With the new pavement that's now grade over again, and their harsh winters there and all that. It's a good racetrack. I guess my biggest thing that I noticed is it seems like every other fan notices is when the leader running 6/10 faster than the back of the field catches the back of the field and can't pass them. They slow down to the same speed and 6/10 slower than what the back of the field was. So that's an eye-opener that boy, I don't think myself or anybody else has an answer for.
And it happens quite often, though, no matter what track it is, other than we're leaving the road courses out of it. But I'm like you, I like the racetrack. And when they showed those big cornfields, I mean, that's unreal, But I watched practice and qualifying, and when the 8 wrecked, Kyle Busch, he went in there, and the car, I guess it was a little bit loose, and when it jumped loose and he corrected, that thing went right straight into the fence. I don't believe I've ever seen one wreck quicker than that, and you probably seen the highlights of it, but I was watching it.
Yeah, I did watch the replay. It reminded me back in the days when we had run the slapper on the left front, lower A-frame, on the sway bar. And boy, whenever that thing turns right, it unloads, and it'll hook a hard right. And that's what it reminded me of. I know those guys don't do that. Most people don't even know what a slapper is anymore. But
you're talking about unloading. And I watched, and this is another thing during practice. I mean, during qualifying it, and I think it was one of the Hendricks cars. I forget which one it was. But when he hit that bump, the low pressure, they had it right on the left rear wheel. It collapsed, and then when it went up, it spread back out, and it had to unload.
Yeah. And
then it went down and loaded again, and it just split seconds. But the thing about the track too, I'm repeating myself. I like the track, and it was hard to tell where the grip was and it wasn't. Because the colors got the same. But that eighth of a mile makes it look so much smaller than Rockingham and Dover.
It does. It looks like a big Richmond. It's a lot like the old Pikes Peak Oval that was out in Pikes Peak, Colorado, where we ran the Busch cars for several years. And it's just a good-sized racetrack. But boy, if the whole defense arrow thing that the drivers talk about, it was just as obvious there as anywhere else.
I don't know. It fools me too. It's just like, but when our cars didn't qualify that good, and they was back in the field, and then the first stage 70 laps, and I was worried about them getting lapped, But you hit on it when the leaders caught the last place car. Is dead in the water,
Yep.
And
I was watching timing and scoring, and they were 6/10 faster. And when they got to him, they ran the same speed he did. They lost 6/10.
But the 24 and the 6 really put on a good show for the first of the race.
Yeah, and a lot of side by side. People down on the bottom digging, and with that progressive banking, it's a great racetrack. I mean, a lot of side by side racing. They stayed side by side a long time after restarts, and It all looks good and all that, but there's, at the end of the day, cautions, some untimely cautions come up. The stage racing messed up a lot of people's strategies. that I guess the second stage was 140 laps.
Yeah.
And they was going to, somebody was going to split it in two at 70, and the fast cars, the leaders, was going to stretch their fuel as far as they could. And then, of course, I think it was SVG spun, and that messed up a lot of people's strategies, especially knowing that there was another stage coming in just a few laps anyway.
And it turned out to be another gas mileage thing that they talked about, you know. But one thing they did talk about the first 70 laps that they only talked it on one car, I guess. The sixth car, I believe, said he grained his right front.
Yeah, I heard them talk about that and saying that they thought it'd get better when the track took on some rubber, and I never really heard them talk about it the rest of the day.
They never hit on that no more, but evidently the tires give up pretty good, Chris.
Yeah.
As they went forward, you know.
Those guys that short pitted in that second stage at 70 lap, they come out and they pass people. You know, they got down on the bottom and they was digging and they was getting their laps back and passing people.
Okay. There was a Chevrolet, a Toyota, and a Ford. So that's kind of the best the Fords have run in the last 2 or 3 races, and it looked like the 6 was going to be the best car, and it seemed like the last gas run or something, he was just back there normal too, but he got up there where he, and you know, they didn't talk to nobody, but evidently he just wasn't as good as he was the first race, or the track had changed for him. Right,
and it could have been. He had some bad pit stop. He was good on long runs. Of course, with all the cautions, he didn't get the long runs anymore, and he had some problems on pit road. They lost a few spots there too, and it's hard to get back. It's difficult to get back.
Well, you hit on that, but that 19 car he's a qualifier, just like Front Row Joe or David Pearson. Lord have mercy. David never let you know nothing until he got ready. It was time to do something. But that was one track too, where when he picked the first pit, that was big too.
Yes,
you know,
sir.
It gained him two or three spots every time. But it was a good mixture of manufacturers, and I guess that's all good. I wish.
Yeah, I think Saturday. I think if I heard that correctly, that was the first Ford win in Xfinity Series this season. So so Ford obviously knew something, figured something out, you know, there, whether it's bump stops, air pressure, whatever. But the whole Ford crowd ran really well.
But Ford only run third now.
Yeah, but they ran.
Yeah,
good.
they led.
They ran.
Won the first 2 stages, and that was big too. And
Priest was good at times. They were pretty good.
And it was
even that 2 car, Austin Cindric. He was good a couple of times. They overall Fords were pretty good for the weekend.
But then you got into that strategy thing, and it was hard to keep up with. But you said you had timing and scoring, and I'm sure that helped you more. I don't have it, but and I can't use my stopwatch, you know. So, but they was. I believe the 19 car, he wound up running second, but I think he tried to take out all the Toyotas. He got 2 at one time, and then he got to 43, and I ain't throwing off on his driving. They was all, but everywhere you looked, they was racing, Chris, even if it was for 33rd place.
Yeah,
they was racing. And
well, it's like you said about his pole positions. His confidence level is the highest it's ever been, and when your confidence level's high, you're going to drive a little harder, and you're going to be more aggressive, and that's okay. That's my driver. That's what I want. I'll back him to the end.
I don't know where we could, how many races we got? 36
total. Yes, sir.
I don't know where we could have 36 tracks just like that or not, and have good racing all the way through. So it's always mixed up and everything. But we're getting ready to go to SVG racing this coming week at Watkins Glen, and we're just hoping somebody can at least make him work a little harder.
Yeah, you know, maybe Watkins Glen seems to be a little less technical than a lot of them. Certainly less technical than Chicago and the street course and all that. So I think you'll have a little harder time this week. But a lot of teams, a lot of drivers got a lot more laps, a lot more data at Watkins Glen than they do at those other places that he's dominated at. So maybe they'll give him a run.
Okay, I'm going to take him and let you pick 5 drivers. I have no idea. And I was here for all that, but in the 70, well, Mario won it. He run the 11 car, didn't he?
Yeah.
At one Daytona in 60.
Holman Moody car in 67 or
67, yeah. So why it come up 11, I have no doubt. Maybe Granatelli, I don't know. It was just, it's one of the more popular numbers even out there today. I don't know, but if I was a crew chief and Richard had done a burnout like the last two, he wouldn't be able to sit down for a while.
I think the thing on the commentators miscalculating the fuel mileage is they're basing it off of green flag runs, and that the little ticker thing with the little gauge and telling you how much percentage is left. They do not factor in a driver running half throttle, a driver caution laps, all that. They know before the race is set up that fuel run is 80 laps, 90 laps, 110 laps, and that's what that's basing it off of there. They have no updates on anything.
Yeah, that's off of full throttle.
Yeah.
And when the tires start giving up, you cannot use full throttle. So there's another deal on it. But what used to help gas mileage was a big gas tank.
Absolutely.
Well, me and Chris both come from the old school, and the stages, the lucky dogs, the wave around, that's just changed racing in general. But years ago when we was running and Chris was involved too, if you put a driver down a lap and you stayed on your game plan, he was out of the picture for the win, you know. And I used to talk to Richard about, like, you catch somebody and you're kind of running their speed, get him a lap down, and then we don't have to worry about him. So I don't know. I guess the fans have to grade it, and but right now, to give it credit, racing's pretty good.
I mean, I think so. And I'm going by the side-by-side racing competition. You know, yeah, there was a lot of cautions, a lot of restarts, and that promotes the side-by-side thing. It's easy to say here, you know, I'm talking out of both sides of my mouth when I say that the leaders caught the back of the field and lost 0.6 of a second. But at the same time, there was, as always, there's a ton of racing in the back of the field, hard racing that you don't see on TV, and unless you're looking for it. And I looked for it. I looked back there. I watched those guys, you know, and I think it was a good race, but that's my opinion.
I thought it was one of the better races we've had in the last 4 or 5. And like Chris says, when they took off in the first stage, and the 6 and the 24 put on a heck of a show.
Yep.
And like he said, they was racing all the way through the field, and then when it come into the stages, they started doing strategy stuff, and it kind of messed everything up for the fans and everybody else too. And I don't know. It was a good race, if that's what you want to know, I think.
And let me say this. When the leaders catch the back of the field running 0.6 faster and can't pass them, that's racing too. Because I've been to the back of the field before. And you're racing your guts out to stay on that lead lap and get to that next caution. In today's racing, get to that next stage. So that's racing, and that's good racing, because if I'm a fan of that guy trying to stay on the lead lap, to me that's good racing. That he raced them hard and stayed on the lead lap, and that's what they did.
But I think we hit on it last week when Richard was here. I didn't see as much blocking this week as I did at Indy, but last week at Indy, if you blocked a car and he had to get out of the throttle, then you immediately drove off and left him because there's no throttle response.
Yeah.
So, and here again, we're coming up on Watkins Glen, so it'll be a different story. Yeah. it.